Hi everyone, Rudy here, and I want to bring you my T16 Hydra Wizard guide. So this is a setup that I tried out recently and I kind of enjoyed it. So this is not a multi-shot Demon Hunter or a Wave of Light Monk, but it's good and definitely one of the better wizard setups, I'd say. So I tried this out with 1000 Paragon points. I had a few decent items, a few really crappy items, and I was running around in a 4-man party and I was able to clear stuff really fast. So it has rather small AoE, but the damage is definitely there, and if you want to play something else, something new, then this is probably a build you can try. So here's the setup. It's the Newt-Hyphen's Whale set, the Hydra set for Wizard, and the way this works is you have to select a rune of Hydra that is not Mammoth Hydra, because that's not the multi-headed one. You need one of the other ones. And I chose Cold for this because it has a little bit of an AoE effect, but you can also play around with the others. But I felt like this worked the best. So all you have to do is cast Hydras twice, then you have 10 heads and get the most out of the damage buff and the defensive buff, and you're good to go. And the rest of this build is essentially just like supporting, movement, utility, and so on. So it's only Hydras, so it's fairly easy to play. You just pop them whenever there's like some trash or some elites, and that's it. Important for the build are two key items. First one is the Serpent Sparker. This one buffs the Hydra damage by a ton, and it allows you to cast it twice, so you can have up to 10 Hydra heads. And this will really help you to clear. And also the Magistrate, which is another buff to Hydras, and both of these items give you a lot of damage, so really require those. There's another few items that you really want, which is Tasker and Theo. So this one buffs your attack speed, and you have to know that Hydras work with breakpoints, so there are certain attack speed breakpoints that you want to reach, and this will dramatically improve your damage in some cases, because the breakpoints are very few, and getting like another one will increase the DPS by like 20% or so. So for the breakpoints, we're aiming for 2.77, which is the 30 frames breakpoint, and this 2.77 is with the attack speed that you get from Tasker and Theo, which is another key item here. So this one rolls up to 40 to 50% increased attack speed for your pets, and it's a very nice damage boost, and this will help you with the breakpoints. So with a 50% Taskers, you need 1.85 attacks per second in sheet. So I get this from having 7% attack speed on the weapon and 7% attack speed on two other items, plus the Paragon. And this is pretty much exactly enough to reach this breakpoint. But if your Taskers rolls worse when you equip it, then you might have to go with another item that also has attack speed. You have to manually calculate it or put your character in the field planner to see that. So if you want to know the exact breakpoint for a sheet attack speed for your own character, you can just take this value of 2.77 and divide it by the number of your Tasker and Theo bonus. So we divide it by, for example, 1.4, which is like 40% Taskers instead of 50% Taskers. And this would require you to have 1.98 attacks per second. So this is how it's done. If you're not sure about it, you can just import your character in the field planner and then also check the breakpoints there. So this is something you can do, but generally if you have a really bad Taskers on a secondary, you will need another item roll with attack speed. So this is just something you should note. For Season 20 you have the advantage, you can just cube Taskers and Magistrates if you want, and you don't have to deal with the legendary roll because it will be maxed. Or you can just equip the Magistrate if you have a decent one and cube the Taskers as well when you're playing non-season or in the future. Some other key items that we use for T16 farming are Nemesis Bracers, of course, because you want to spawn the extra elites for the progression and the loot. We have Squirt's Necklace. This is very easy to keep up because we have Gold Wrap as well, giving you essentially infinite toughness. And with Galvanizing Ward, you're basically invincible and you'll never lose your Squirt stacks. Just at the start of the run, you have to be a little bit careful because you have to get like 1 or 2 kills to drop some gold, and after that you're going to be invincible. For the offhand, we have Winter Flurry. There's not really any offhand you want to use, so I just decided to take this one because of the extra cold damage, and this is definitely alright. Another option is the Cosmic Strand, which gives you the teleport with Wormhole, so you can use another teleport rune, but that doesn't really matter. You just use teleport Wormhole yourself if you don't have the offhand. But if you want, you could use any offhand here, it doesn't really matter. On your items, you want to roll Hydra damage. This is relatively good because Hydra is a pet skill, and as such, the damage rolls on your items are a multiplier, so you can have 15% on shoulders, chest, and the swords, and this is definitely really, really strong. because this multiplies your other damage buffs from, for example, magic weapon. Other than that, you stack cold damage if you use a cold rune, and we have a Stone of Jordan here, which also gives us some bonus against elites. We have the Everrise Band for the picker radius, and combined with the boon of the Hoarder, this will make it picking up gold and globes very easy. And other than that, we have the 2 legendary gems, Seize and Enforcer. Early season, you could also go with Bane of the Powerful when your other gems are not really leveled very high, because Bane of the Powerful doesn't scale, and it's definitely a solid replacement for the Seize, for example. For this gem specifically, you have to know that it's calculated from your own distance to the enemy, not from the Hydra's distance. So you generally want to put the Hydras exactly on top of the enemy so that they actually attack the right target, and you will not lose the Seize effect like this if you're standing far away yourself. Other than that, you don't really need much. You don't really need defense because of gold wrap, but you can roll some vitality or so. For example, I also have resource cost reduction on the shoulders. This helps a little bit with teleport, because we have the Adder Walker, and when you want to move around a lot, you will run out of resource occasionally, or get close to it at least on very long rifts. So I chose the Emerald here for the extra gold find, but you can definitely just take a Topaz and you're gonna be fine. Like after the Topaz and maybe the shoulders, you're gonna not have any resource trouble anymore. For the skill setup, besides the Hydra, we have the Familiar. This one gives you arcane power regeneration, which is very helpful. We have Magic Weapon with Force Weapon, giving you a 20% bonus damage buff. This is quite nice. We have the Wormhole Teleport, Energy Armor. You could use another armor rune or another armor skill even, but I chose to just go with highest DPS, 5% crit chance here. But for example, when you don't have gold wrap, you could use something like a Harrington Waistguard if you want, and then you can use another energy armor rune that is more defensive. And we have the Black Hole here with Absolute Zero. This is like a skill that I use sometimes, but overall the last skill slot is kind of whatever. So it gives you like a small damage buff here and there. You could also use Archon, for example, to make sure you can always teleport out, because you're not immune to interrupts. But with Archon, you can just press it and teleport out after the run or something. So this is also helpful in some cases. For the passives, we have Power Hungry. It's more damage against far away enemies, which is pretty good. Galvanizing Ward I mentioned, and Unstable Anomaly, just to make sure you don't accidentally die sometimes when gold wrap is down. So you have to make sure that you don't get completely comboed, because compared to other defensive proc passives, this wizard passive is actually really weak, and it doesn't protect you infinitely. So it just gives you like a shield, and you can still die in like right after, essentially. And the last passive is Glass Cannon, because it's another damage boost. But here again, this is nothing really necessary, it's just another small boost. And that's about it for the setup. So it's quite simple. You essentially just teleport around, make sure you have your buffs up. For Force Armor specifically, it drops after every single rift for whatever reason. So at the start of the run, you just press all your buffs once and you're good to go. So there's nothing really that can go wrong with that. You teleport around, you pop your Hydras on top of the enemies, and that's about it. So the gameplay is extremely simple, and yeah, you can play around a bit with the Hydras to, you know, once you get a feel for how strong they are, how fast they clear, and how fast they kill like certain packs, you'll understand a little bit better how to optimize this, and you know, where to put that Hydras for the fastest clear. But overall, I can say this works pretty well, especially for Wizard standards. Wizard is not really super strong, as I mentioned at the start, but it's alright in T16. And yeah, before that, I've been playing a VS variation with Archon, and I would say that the two setups are fairly similar. And it's probably also like quite similar to like a Wonder Woe setup for Wizard. So I hope you like this guide here, and I'll see you guys next time.